There is a level of exhaustion that arises from narcissistic abuse, an exhaustion that you didn't even know could exist until you find yourself in this place where you feel more hollowed out than a piñata at a preschool or birthday party. Even air itself becomes too heavy to breathe. It feels like you're drowning, not in water, but inside of your own mind, screaming into the silence of your own hell. This is not the type of tiredness that comes from lack of sleep, but from suffering with no purpose for your pain, no self to process it, no meaning to justify it, no belonging to share it. Like a ghost experiencing torture, and are so completely tapped out of fight, you can't tell if you're crazy, if you're dying, or does it really even matter? Because you are simply too exhausted and empty to care what happens next. It's when you get to this point of utter exhaustion that you no longer care is why the suicidal tendencies and rates are so significantly higher with victims of narcissistic abuse. Rates that make suicide prevention experts scratch their heads in confusion because they didn't just hurt you. They murdered the part of you. Contextualize hurt. They stole the narrator who was supposed to say, this pain means something, or I matter enough to fight this. At the peak of this feeling, you cannot think your way out of this. There is no self to motivate, no identity to appeal. The control room is empty, but your body, that faithful, stubborn thing, is still keeping score. Today, I want to go over what to do in that exact moment. Not next week, not next year, but now. When you are too exhausted to care, the goal is not to force yourself to feel hope. Your only job right now is to exist and to begin a process of calming your nervous system. Put something cold in your hands. Put an ice cube down your shirt. Splash your face with cold water. This triggers the mammalian dive reflex that forces your nervous system to regulate regardless of your thoughts, because it bypasses the DMN entirely, creating a physiological response that can't be overridden by the hijacked brain. It creates an immediate, I exist sensation through pure biology. Step 2 is creating evidence of here-ness. Press your feet hard into the floor. Push your palms against a wall. Feel your paws. This isn't mindfulness. This is proof of biological existence when psychological existence has vanished. Breathe for the next 60 seconds. I will keep this body breathing for 1 minute. This works because it requires no self-concept, no future, no past, just a basic biological function that can continue even when selfhood is offline. Follow extremely simple instructions with no emotional context. Drink this water. Sit in this chair. You're keeping a vessel alive until the captain can return. You're not trying to fix the universe because the goal in that moment isn't convincing yourself that you should be stronger. You are in a state of profound neurological and moral injury. This exhaustion you're feeling is not a failure. It's your nervous system finally saying, we need to stop running. You've been in DEFCON for years, walking on eggshells, deliberately being sleep deprived. Your entire system is in survival mode. Your brain has been trying to run, corrupted by an abusive program that the narcissist installed. That metabolic drain is immense. Your body is screaming for rest, not because it's weak, but it's biologically imperative for consciousness reconstruction. Think of a baby, an infant, a toddler. They need 12, 14, 17 hours of sleep a day. Why? Because their brains are in a state of massive foundational neural construction. They are literally building the networks for self-referential thinking, emotional regulation, trust, safety detection, identity. You, my friend, are in an identical situation. You're not just recovering from trauma. You are literally growing a new consciousness. And that requires a shit ton of energy. So when you feel that profound need to sleep, lie still to disengage. Listen to it. You're not being lazy. You're not being selfish. You are providing your brain the crucial resources it needs for neuroplasticity, for the growth of new neural pathways, for the arduous, sacred work of bringing you home. Here's the thing to remember. This point of exhaustion. It's kind of like the rock bottom of narcissistic abuse. And rock bottom is actually where your resurrection begins. Because when you've lost everything, including yourself, you don't care what happens next. That is when you also stop playing by their rules. Every time you choose which sock to put on first, decide to breathe for 1 more minute. Let your body rest without shame, saying, "That's not my thought," to their voice. And that microscopic spark of defiance, that tiny "fuck you," to their voice in your head. You're not just surviving, you're committing biological revolution. You literally are growing new neural pathways, creating a consciousness where there was a void, building a self from quantum particles of choice. Because if you want to know why you're still here, why you haven't ended, and despite feeling dead inside, it's because somewhere beneath their program, beneath their exhaustion, beneath the void itself, is a part of you that knows you're not broken, but that you're breaking free. So to every survivor watching this at 3 a.m. feeling like they're drowning inside of their own skull, your exhaustion is valid. Your void is real. Your desire to make it stop makes perfect sense. You're not weak for feeling exhausted. You're doing the hardest thing a human being can ever do, creating a conscious from nothing while your brain is fighting against you, while carrying your killer's voice in your head. You're not just surviving narcissistic abuse. You're proving the human spirit cannot be destroyed. Not by them, not by their voice in your head, not even by the void itself. You are the evidence that consciousness can be reborn. You are the proof that identity can be rebuilt. You are the living testimony that they didn't win, because you're still here, still breathing, their forbidden air, still taking up the space they said you didn't deserve, still existing despite a brain that was programmed to annihilate your existence. And that's not survival. That is fucking magnificent. Here's the revolutionary truth. You don't need to heal faster. You need to recognize the magnitude of what you're accomplishing. Every day you choose to keep going, even when you feel like it is impossible. You're writing a new story, a story where you're not the villain or the victim, but the hero who saved themselves. A story where you didn't need to be rescued because you were never helpless. You were just trapped in someone else's version of who you were supposed to be. The strength it takes to sit with this void, to feel this exhaustion, to face this emptiness without trying to fix it, fill it, or run from it, that strength is proof of everything you're capable of. That strength is proof that you are becoming exactly who you were meant to be before anyone tried to convince you otherwise. You are not what they said. You are not defined by how they treated you. You are not limited by their lack of imagination of who you can become. You are not responsible for their inability to see your worth. You are someone who survived what was meant to destroy you. You are someone who found a way to keep going when everything in you wanted to stop. You are someone who chose reality over fantasy, yourself over the lie they tried to sell you about who you were. And somewhere from within that void you're staring into, somewhere in that utter exhaustion you're carrying, somewhere in that emptiness you're feeling, there's a strength that no one will ever be able to take from you, a worth that no one can diminish, and a future that belongs entirely to you. You're going to be okay, not because everything is okay, but because you're exactly strong enough to handle whatever comes next, because you've already proven that by making it this far. If you can get up and get through every day living with one of these deplorable meat sacks, and can do so with a success rate of 100%, that is not nothing. That is everything. So fight for you. Focus on you. Fuck the narcissist, or whatever you want to call them.